Alright, so we're at the brake setup time. So we will grab my trusty 3-way Allen key. Just want to check here because this, well, no, it's an externally routed cable. We got room here. Hey, let's throw some lube on that cable. Since I loosened this brake pinch bolt, this is really loose and I got plenty of room to work with here. Okay, there's that. Now, this cable goes underneath the tape, of course, on a road bike. Not much we can do with that, but I can tip this up and just get some lube to run down. Okay. Front one, whatever, that's good enough. I could spin the bike, put it upside down, get lube up through the barrel adjuster, but that's not necessary. Lots of times, like a bike that's outside all the time or totally got ridden through nasty, muddy situations, yeah, well, that wouldn't be a basic tune for me because I would automatically be removing cables and sanding them down and or replacing them according to corrosion and what there is left to work with on them. So that is lubed. Put that back in. Okay. That back in. Okay. Pull it tight. Just give it a feel. Yeah, okay, it's all in there. It's annoying if you don't have your cable, if it got hung up on the cable stop and then you set up your brakes and then it slips into the cable stop. It's all loose again. So, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give myself some room with this barrel adjuster. So, because I tightened it all the way down in my attempt to loosen it off a bit to get the wheel out. It's going to back it out a couple, I don't know, what was that, a turn and a bit. Gives me room that when I tighten this pinch pull back down, if it's too tight, I got some room to loosen it enough, hopefully. So, squeeze. Okay. Tighten the pinch. Oh, wait. Sorry. Turn the cam down. Because we want to tighten it into its riding set position. Okay, now we'll tighten this pinch bolt. Okay, we'll check the lever. Okay. General rule of thumb, it gets trickier on road bikes, but if you imagine a straight line through this area and then a straight line through this part of the bar, when the brake is applied, they should be fairly parallel, these lines. So this is still slightly loose. I can also squeeze it right down to the bar. So I've got room to tighten it, the cable tension up as we move along through the setup here. Now I want to check balance. So are both of these brake pads moving equal distance, or is one resting on the rim already? Is it out of balance? That looks pretty good. I can physically see a huge gap on this side compared to that side though. So we're going to balance it more, and it pushes the rim into the other pad instead of them both hitting at the same time. Okay. Now, like I said on the front one, there's this screw here that puts pressure on the spring. Well, indirectly on this setup, but that's going to balance, give us a minor adjustment on balance. So where's that? This one? I think it might be this one. No, wrong one. This one. And since it's pulled this way, I'm going to loosen the tension so that it moves back that way. Check my gap. Oh, too far. Tighten it back up. Give it a check. Oh, that's better. Okay. Let me tighten it just a tad more. It's like 1/8 of a turn. Yep, that's good. Okay. Now, I want to check the brake pad orientation when it contacts the rim. I always want to see a sliver of rim braking surface above the pad. As the pad wears, it could, if the pad's too high, it gets, the pad gets wider as it wears. So then you could end up with brake pad hitting your tire, and that'll wear a hole, a groove, through the sidewall of it. Bad news when that tube decides that it's got enough pressure in it to blow through. Let's check both sides. Yeah, I got room there. Okay, I can see a sliver of pad. Now you also want to make sure that it's not hanging off the bottom of the rim. So there's only a finite amount of adjustment we can do here. The other thing you want to do is, generally you want the front of the brake pad to touch the rim before the back of the brake pad. Just a bit, like no more than 1 millimeter of difference. Typically, it's not the hard rule. Some situations require drastic differences in how the pad touches the rim. That helps with as your wheel spins through and your brake pads grab, the torque of the wheel wants to take these brake pads and bow them out like that. So the front of the pad leaves the rim. That can cause vibration, and vibration can cause noise, like squeals. It's very common. Road bike, this brake system is so compact and stiff, it's very unlikely that there's gonna be a vibration issue. But I'm still gonna check by pushing on this arm, not on the pad, because I don't want to torque the pad. But I'm just going to push on this brake arm and see if I could see what touches first. And I can see that the back of the pad is touching before the front of the pad. Can't see anything in the shadow. This one's, pretty flat. Maybe the back's not quite touching when the front touches. But this one, I want to adjust. So loosen that off, give it a little shaky wiggle so that it doesn't want to go back into the same spot, hopefully. So you can see, I've got room here to adjust it in all orientations, up, down, in, out, so I'm going to push this back in to the rim. I could actually even just grab the brake lever on this bike. Not tight, but just tight enough to hold the pad where I want it. Check my height. Okay. Gonna tighten this bolt just a bit. Okay. Okay, that all looks good. I'm hitting the rim square flat right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my wrench back in there, and I'm going to torque on the wrench this way a bit to induce a minor amount of toe in. Like, yeah, I could barely see it move there. And then I got to hold the front of the pad as I tighten it, or it'll want to twist on me. Okay, slightly snug, check. Okay, it's not bad. Like I say, these, unlike a V-brake style on a mountain bike, these are a lot less susceptible to squealing vibration issues. But I'm just a little, the front of the pad's a little too high, so I gotta rotate it just a tad. And now the back of the pad will be a little too high. Okay. Take that down. Okay. And that pad looks good, so I'm not going to mess with it. But this did end up in a slightly different spot on this side, so. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is tighten this barrel adjuster in, not all the way. I always like to still have a bit of room to loosen it. Since my brake lever feels a little loose still. Okay, now without trying to grab just this cable end cap, I'm going to grab the cable, hold this brake, just, you know, the whole system as tight as possible. Taking that back down. Okay, check my lever. Oh, that's better. It's not, you know, over here. What's that line? It's hard on a curve to find a straight line, but that's better. Feels nice. Okay. Come back. Make sure everything is tight. Yes. Okay. Rear brake done. Balance is good. Yep. Front brake. Close the quick release. Okay, I got a balance adjustment to do here. Loosen, check gap. The gap looks pretty even. Okay, check the height. A little high in the back on that one, a little low in the front. That side looks good. Now this one is towed. I can see a gap at the back of the pad when the front touches. This is the pad I'm going to have to adjust. You know, all this being said, when you take a wheel out and you put a wheel back in, you're not likely to get it in the exact same position. So sometimes this is a futile effort, but especially when, you know, like a mechanic sets everything up for the wheel being where he put it, and then you take it out, the wheel out, to get it in your car, and then when you go home, you put it in the wrong, not in the same position, and things are messed up. It can be frustrating. Okay. Toe. Bit. Alright, we're just going to see how that goes. That's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna, whoops. No, I want that. There we go. Dang it. A lot of tighten, wrong spot. Loosen, tighten, wrong spot. Okay, this whole pad has to come lower, actually. So tighten the brake lever a bit so I can get this pad orientated where I want it. Slightly tight, just enough. And it's already still got the gap on the back. Okay. That looks good. Give both brake levers a feel to make sure they're about the same. And the rear one's a little tighter, so I'm just gonna tighten. This barrel adjuster was all the way down, so backing it off a bit. Oh yeah, feels pretty good. You know, once I test ride the bike, I'll pay some more attention to that stuff and see if there's any micro adjustments that can be done. Okay, well there's the brakes. Oh, I just gotta check make sure this pinch bolt's tight. Yeah, that's good. Okay. There's the brakes. Next, gears. Gears. The nemesis of all bikes.